Hello, everyone. I'm Gaowei from Faculty of Education, Hong Kong U. I'm very pleased to introduce our first keynote speaker for CITES 2024, okay, Professor Sanna. Okay. Professor Järvelä is from University of Oulu, Finland. She is a professor in learning sciences and head of the Learning and Educational Technology Research Lab. And her research interests include self-regulated learning, computer-supported collaborative learning, and AI in education. Professor Järvelä is the member of Finnish Academy of Science and Letters, also a past early president. As you know, EARLY is European Association for Research on Learning and Instruction. It's the largest educational association in Europe with thousands of members from over 60 countries. Professor Järvelä is also a fellow of International Society of the Learning Sciences. And currently she's co-PI of the Center for Learning and Living with AI and the leader of the Hybrid Intelligence Research Program in the University of Oulu. I also know that Sanna is also an editor of the International Journal of Computer-Supported Collaborative Learning, which is one of the best journals in learning sciences and educational technology. I'm sure many of us would like to publish in that journal, right? And today, Professor Järvelä is going to talk about how to be adaptive learners in the age of AI. I think it's a timely and important topic for all of us. So let's welcome Professor Järvelä to give the keynote.
Good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, I warmly would like to thank this opportunity to participate on this very interesting event and share my thoughts about this topic and share my research. I also thank you about the warm welcome I have had here and the warm atmosphere you clearly seem to have here in the Hong Kong University. Today, I start discussing about what are the human strengths in the age of AI. Actually, we already started in the morning, and I think we need really to think about what it is to be a human in the age of AI. Then I discuss about adaptive learning from my theoretical and research perspective. How can we explain this adaptive learning and why it is important? When we are moving to the AI, I try to look at the bigger picture and give arguments why we, especially in our field, need to work hard to understand more about human AI collaboration and why we need it. I introduce you our Hybrid Intelligence Research Program, what we are going to do in Oulu. And lastly, I will show some examples what my research lab especially are doing at the moment in this topic. Let me start with humans. This little girl demonstrates very clearly our human strengths. We have something what AI does not have, and this is metacognitive ability. It is ability of being able about ourselves, being able to understand our understanding, our feelings, emotions, and so on. And actually, this is something what makes us authentic learners. AI does not have that ability. We are powerful on expressing our affect, emotions, interpretations, and actually what is really the strongest ability of human mind is that we are very flexible on operating with our cognition, metacognition, motivation, and emotion in such a dynamic way. We can adapt that in the situations, and that's our strength. So the very useful theory which has helped my and colleagues and my lab research, is self-regulated learning theory. This is an old, quite strong theory, but I think it describes really something very important in this age of AI, because it gives the theoretical explanation why we learners are kind of able to experiment with our own learning. We are able to monitor our developing mind and developing learning, and we are also able to regulate and change if needed, do something else to help ourselves. So basically this theory describes that how we are able as humans to transform our mental abilities to those kind of skills and competencies we need in this world. Thinking a bit further about this human power, something which we really should treasure currently. These kind of skills and competencies which machines cannot replicate, at least easily. And those are those dealing with social, affective issues. We are able to adapt to new situations. We are able to engage in complex problem solving. We have all these interaction skills. We can interpret other people. We can communicate. We can work productively in interactions with other people. We also have something called socio-emotional skills and empathy, which seems to have much more value than ever in tackling these challenging today's problems. And also we are able to set goals, proceed enacting these goals, and monitor our own goals and others' goals. So what do we mean by adaptive learning, or what is this adaptiveness in learners' mind? Something what we have been studying, we have especially been interested in collaborative learning because there is something very important power in other people, and we know that collaborative learning is a strong way to learn together. We have looked especially about these metacognitive level processes in groups. So we have been studying theory and construct, namely socially shared regulation, in terms of theory building, building methods to understand and do empirical research about that. But ultimate aim has been to being able to help learners to be better in their collaborative learning, because we know that self-regulation is important for individual learners, but when we have more than one learner working together, there are several kind of other issues which they need to reach together in terms of their learning processes. So the concepts we have been operating is self-regulation, co-regulation, and socially shared regulation. I keep on staying a little bit more in this theory issue because it is very important to emphasize what is this human strength. Self-regulation is an ability for us to be strategic learner and to be able to make adaptive changes in terms of our cognition, motivation, and emotions while we are learning and studying. And more than 2-3 decades research strongly evidence that those students who have these abilities usually succeed in their learning. This is a kind of cyclical process where exactly this metacognitive monitoring is a kind of engine in humans' mind, where students are proceeding with their task understanding, goal setting, strategic engagement, and adaptation. One more issue in this adaptation, because it is a mental metacognitive level process, how we explain in self-regulated learning theory, adaptation is a mark of regulation. Adaptation is something, this is an example of the research we do. We study collaborative learning and usually collect multimodal data to understand all possible learning processes in this situation. But the adaptation is that if those learners are able to monitor that there is some obstacle in the learning process, then they are able to monitor, adapt and change and revise, do something else, find alternative ways of thinking, working, acting, asking questions, or being strategic in their mind. And this is the process called adaptation. We also explain in our theory that actually learners' internal condition, how much they learn, how much they have, what is their prior knowledge, prior understanding, prior beliefs about their competencies, efficacy, and so on. And the external condition, what kind of opportunities we create for students, what kind of technologies we bring in, what kind of tasks they do, those are giving the kind of conditions for them for monitoring and adapting. So again, back to this, the theory we've been working, socially shared regulation. So concerning this same phenomena in a group level, it involves groups taking metacognitive control of the tasks together through negotiated iterative fine-tuning of cognitive, behavioral, motivational, and emotional conditions when needed, when purposefully needed to adapt. Currently, we are moving to the fourth types of or four modes of regulation to understand and study, and this is hybrid human AI regulation. This is something what we are currently working in terms of theoretical and technological and also research sense together with our collaborators and partners. What we do is that we bring our understanding from self-regulated learning research and socially shared regulation research, this theory as a guideline to understand the phenomena. But we also bring this data which comes from the opportunities to collect data about learning processes. And now we are trying to look at this collaboration in between this data world and AI world and humans, learners, mind and learning processes. And this is the area of hybrid human AI regulation. We don't know that yet enough, as not the others either. This is something we really need to work hard. But this is the way we are approaching currently. So let me move a bit bigger arguments, and now I want to look at from the very, very global perspective, why this kind of research is needed, why we need to be here today to discuss about this conference topic, why human AI collaboration is important now and especially for future. Of course, this is one reason. We have seen, all of us who have been working with educational technology, we have seen that every second year at least comes some kind of new things, whether it is mobile technology or whether it's some kind of game technologies or whatever. And then it's like, again, new and new and new. But now it's very different. Advancement happens, as someone has said, I think it was George Siemens in some of his talk, that decades happen in weeks in AI development. And I think we all truly have seen this. But still, how we as working in education, teaching and learning, how do we participate on this research? What we know about AI is too narrow at the moment. It does not have all power to help humans. We need to know more about how human and AI collaboration happens and how we are able to combine the strengths of humans and machines. I hear us already, we started to discuss a couple of years ago here, and I see these kind of questions everywhere. These are timely questions. There are hundreds of other timely questions. What are the skills needed when living with AI? What is the balance? How do we handle this in education and schools? Where do we need teachers? How do we teach? And what is the role of hybrid in instruction? Very recently, we have been thinking about OpenAI, and now we are asking, can it truly help us? Is it spoiling something valuable in learning, or is it truly helping us? And in general, we are thinking like, what is this AI in education? Is it something what we have experienced in educational technology development or not? I think this is something very different than, again, new educational technology. But our work is very much needed. As you see, the world spent huge investment on education and training globally. There is an estimation that by the next year, there will be more than $7 trillion spent, but only 5% of that is digital. There is clearly a need to find more relevant evidence-based solutions, because we know this is Jacobs Foundation's tweet where they have been especially interested in this kind of evidence-based ed-tech. And truly, only 21% of, according to their information, educational technology companies base their solutions on evidence-based solutions. Our work is very much needed. And especially if we look the bigger picture, why AI in education, all kind of digitalized education, educational technology is very much needed and timely. We are growing. The global population grows about 200,000 each day. So we simply cannot train enough teachers. We cannot build enough schools. We cannot organize enough lessons to teach these students. We have to be busy finding new ways to educate people globally. Second, we have seen how the world is in these days. We hopefully passed pandemics. We are currently wrestling with climate change. And every day we see a lot of shocking news dealing with various kinds of conflicts. For example, we know that even more than 200 million children worldwide live today in high-intensity conflict zones, and we cannot leave them without education. Our work is needed. We also need more flexible ways to organize education, as we did in pandemics. We were quite good on that area. Thirdly, one topic which I think every countries are discussing is that how AI is changing our jobs. And there are some estimations that half of the jobs are expected to significantly affected by automation, and even more than 14% of them are at high risk to disappear. So there is a lot of uncertainty in the air. But on the other hand, we cannot leave developing human capital. We need it for this society. And therefore, the areas of reskilling and upskilling are very much coming. They have always been there, but this is also the area we should be working much more actively and finding our solutions there. And perhaps the last thing I would like to give, like a global arguments for our work, is the fact that we are aging. And therefore, as we see in my country, but we need to find ways for helping aging and care, utilizing AI and other realities, other digital solutions for well-being care, and especially training, for example, nurses, because we know that healthcare workers, there is a high shortage of these professionals in future, and we need to find ways for more effective training and education. So therefore, we need hybrid intelligence research. We need hybrid intelligence solutions. Those arguments I just explained you were the arguments for our research program in University of Oulu. Hybrid intelligence, there's a lot of discussion about these words. For us, hybrid intelligence means that we want to combine the strengths of both humans and machines so that they can collaborate, so that they can learn from and reinforce each other. This kind of AI is very different than the traditional how we understand AI, which usually is aiming to use machine to replace or replace us, our intelligence, or either complement human intelligence. So therefore, we are trying to find ways in our multidisciplinary research to understand and help humans and machines each other. And this is the area which needs many different perspectives from computer science, affective computer, to the human sciences and learning sciences especially. Also, we think in our research program that this current data-driven AI is too narrow, mainly because it lacks a lot of these elements which are important in humans' life, the social and emotional intelligence, for example. Also, we think that if we put more emphasis on mutual understanding and learning from each other, we are able to combine the strengths of both humans and machines, perhaps in their co-evolutionary processes. And one more aspect in our research program is that we think that we should extend these realities we are acting and working, especially in the field of education, also in other fields. So we try to integrate and we will integrate our research to the metaverse, whatever it is, but so that we are able to explore these hybrid intelligence systems also, so that we combine our physical realities and virtual realities towards multi-realities. So in a nutshell, we need the program, we need different disciplines, and we have decided to work in 4 different themes. We have 5 years to go. We have been working almost 1 year to get more forces and recruit people to work with us. But our research program combines different disciplines, and we first need to understand more about data and algorithms in terms of how human and machines can work together, collaborate together. We also need to understand more humans, understand human learning processes, so that we are able to augment with data and algorithms humans. If we want to extend to the multi-realities and think about these metaverse aspects, then we are also working here in multi-reality so that we can look at the reality that coexists with physical world. And these different themes in these different disciplines are also building all the research together so that we are hopefully soon able to reach solutions for hybrid intelligence for team which we are looking for solutions for the quality of life, especially in education and health sciences in our case. But as we know that this area has many open questions and many risks, so we also run at the same time intensive data forum discussion about all issues, problems, questions we don't know about data use, and everything, many hard things to answer and understand, but also very intensively ethical issues, because without that it is impossible to proceed in this research. So I would like to show you a little video which is perhaps summarizing something about how we work in this research program. Oh yes, and of course this is something what many people do and many universities, and we are not able to do it alone. So we collaborate with many teams in different countries, and we also have created industry and policymaker partnerships for this program.
The presence of artificial intelligence is growing in all areas of life. However, current data-driven AI is still too narrow to help humans, as it is lacking in social and emotional intelligence and being restricted by reality. Hybrid Intelligence Research Program at the University of Oulu focuses on human-AI co-evolution and learning in multi-realities. It aims to combine the strengths of both humans and machines in productive, responsible, and ethical ways.
Data and algorithm-assisted hybrid intelligence research theme aims at developing data processing and computational technology for helping the humans and the machines understand each other.
Understanding Humans in AI Interaction theme strives to understand human learning and interaction processes to build systems which augment rather than replace human intelligence, to emphasize our strengths and compensate for our weaknesses.
Based on your interests, I would recommend 1984 by George Orwell.
Exploring the Extended Human Mind in Multi-Realities theme investigates AI methods to extend and reshape human perception through digital spaces and realities that coexist with our physical world.
The Quality of Life theme investigates how hybrid intelligence can positively impact various aspects of well-being, such as healthcare and education, ultimately aiming to enhance people's quality of life.
Bless you. I recommend that you rest this evening and monitor your condition.
Hybrid intelligence takes a human-centered approach, advancing the well-being of people in different areas of life through the integration of innovative technologies.
Okay, thank you. So that was a bit provocative, but that was planned to be, to introduce our research program for the next 5 years. So lastly, I would like to go a little bit about what we have in our hands at the moment, and how do we build on our theoretical understanding about self-regulated learning and this adaptive learning theme. This is something that this is very much learning scientist interpretations, how we are working at the moment. So I simplify complex things. This is what we do in my LET lab, Learning and Educational and Technology Research Lab at the University of Oulu. So first of all, we use data to understand, especially socially shared regulation in learning. And that's multimodal data, giving different data channels and opportunities to measure and collect data about learning processes. We use AI to make data meaningful for us as researchers. We try to use this data to help learners and AI to collaborate, so that something how we understand the data would also help prompt invite learners and especially those relevant SRL features or processes which help them to be stronger adaptive learners. So we augment learners to be more adaptive, self-regulated learners. And shortly, again, very learning scientists way, we translate AI to the socially shared regulation in learning for evidence-based educational technology, or whether it is something in the future. So as already said about the multimodal data, as many of us are working at the moment, these different data channels simply have given us opportunities as a learning scientist to understand more about learning. And this is something we have been working a long time in our lab, but also with our international partners and collaborators as they do at the moment. We have tried to evidence which kind of multimodal data can tell us about these very core learning processes, what we are investigating, cognition, metacognition, emotion, and motivation. What is useful? What is something what we can evidence really these phenomena? And the work is still in progress. Thinking about our research, how this has helped us to understand something in research on socially shared regulation in learning, understand regulatory processes in collaborative groups. It has helped us to see, during the past 10 years, actually my team has been very intensive in different areas. And now we have been approaching some areas which have not been either visible or nor understandable for us, because simply they are dealing with the phenomena which we cannot measure in the traditional ways. For example, we are now able to understand more about metacognitive monitoring using physiological synchrony. We are able to understand more about emotions and emotion regulation using physiological activation data. We are able to use different video data, Kinect cameras and so on for gazes and visual cues and look at that role on regulatory processes. For example, we are able to use heart rate as a chain point detection for adaptation. And again, of course, all possible ways to understand social interactions more detailed and better. But this step in our research has given us opportunity to step in this human AI collaboration research. So currently we are working with AI-based methods to automate, model, and predict regulatory triggers so that we are able to use this data for implications in teaching, learning, and education. Very, very simple way to model why we do this and how we do this. We know in research that it is actually human agency which keep us learning. And the agency is something what also is a kind of mark of active minds and active learners. But it is very hard for teachers or learners themselves or us as researchers to understand, to look at, for example, this group and understand what is going on in this situation. But recently, because of this digitalization and new kind of data, we have been able to better understand about human learning and more details about these learning processes. And of course, because it is digital, then we are able also to teach machines, use this data for making machines more intelligent, so that we are able to develop some power from machines to collaborate with these learners and help this way they success in self-regulation and learning in general. Currently, we are working, as many other teams, with human AI collaboration, and we especially are finding ways that, or asking question, are we able to have, for example, AI agent as a one team member in order to help other group members to recognize something important which they are not able to understand while they are working collaboratively. And hopefully step by step we are also able to leverage to that metaverse and look at these collaborative processes in other realities, partly while students are working and collaborating. Our recent effort, which we are currently thinking, is our friend called MAI, Metacognitive AI Agent, where we are thinking that if we could have this MAI to help to invite for learners to be more metacognitively aware and even in the best cases intervene and invite them to regulate. Not necessarily prompt and give clear answers, but invite them for regulation, to detect some problems in the collaboration and then intervene and hopefully increase their metacognitive awareness in their collaboration. Another important theme in our work is CELA, or which is a Center for Learning and Living with AI. This is a global research center where we work collaboratively with Inge Molenaar from Radboud University, Dragan Gacevic from Monash and their team, Maria Banner from Munich, and Roger Acevedo from Florida. This is a global research center funded by the Jacob Foundation, and we are especially trying to focus on helping K-12 level education, because we think that we need especially to focus on that age group to help them learn, live and work in the age of AI. Basically, there are messages behind our empirical work in these labs. So we want to equip these K-12 learners with the skills and competencies needed in their future. But there are also other areas above the basic research about understanding these processes, so that we are able also to inform how to design AI-driven systems and perhaps also develop practices that are boosting really learners' own agency. In this research, this is based the current empirical work what we do together in almost similar ways in 5 different labs in different continents. We built this work on Dragan Gacevic's work on Flora engine, which is detecting students' learning processes while they are working in writing multiple source text task. So basically this means that we are able to collect trace data while students are working with different kind of tasks. And we are able to use rule-based AI algorithms to look at their learning processes and then translate them for feedback and also different patterns depending on the kind of SRL processes students are using and acting. So this is giving very important information for the learners themselves, what are the useful patterns and strategies, but also for teachers for later use. And these are, for example, the learning action and processes we are handling in this kind of research. As said, we are working in different countries in our labs to collect data. This is an example what we do or currently have been doing in Oulu. We have been working with a bit more than 200 students in 2 schools and 6 teachers using eye tracking, self-reports, interviews and trace data to understand these SRL processes and how we are able to support this with the different AI systems. Currently in CELA, we are very much discussing and planning the next data collection in our 5 labs. And we are based on our theoretical framework, SRL theory. We are especially thinking what is the optimal ways to implement generation AI do the next study. And in general, like what we ask is that, is this something what is revolutionizing learning or not? Building on the theoretical understanding about regulation in learning and adaptation, we know that regulation is very effortful. It is laborious. Because if it would be easy and simple and fun and spontaneous, everybody would be excellent learners. So what we are asking at the moment, that is this something, if we are implementing, for example, ChatGPT to help or as a resource, is it taking too much power from learners? Are we giving too much help so that they are not able to exercise with their metacognitive efforts at all? And that's quite critical question, and we are thinking we have to somehow do empirical experiments dealing with this issue to really understand, so that we are not spoiling all those human-like important abilities which we actually need in the age of AI. Then finally, even though we are very much, and everybody here want to be in front line, and we are following this very, very fast development, how things change, and we have to follow it. But I think it's also very important always remember how, or actually remember to look backwards. So not to invent everything, and especially in understanding learning and teaching, we have to respect this thinking what we have had earlier. And one of my favorite scientist in our field is Gabi Salomon. He's thinking about how to use computers in education is crystal clear already decades ago. And in one of his excellent book, Distributed Cognition, he actually cites a power couple in learning sciences, Martin Scardamelia and Carl Bereiter, saying it is not the computer that should be doing the diagnosing, the goal setting and the planning. It is the student. The computer environment should not be providing the knowledge and intelligence to guide learning. It should be providing the facilitating structure and tools that enable students to make maximum use of their own intelligence and knowledge. And I very much agree then in 2025 and 24. And so actually this is what we always have to keep in mind, that actually what we want really to help is human learners and their agency, whatever algorithms or technology we have in education. So finally, I would like to thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor JÄRVELÄ. Thank you for sharing your insights on human AI collaboration and hybrid intelligence. So let's see if we have any questions or comments. Yes.
Thank you so much, Professor JÄRVELÄ. This is wonderful, and I really appreciate that how you have emphasized the human as the center, and also regulation as the core in the process of seeking for developing hybrid intelligence. I do have a question related to how to enhance and also enabling our students in I guess centering their power of awareness, their power of regulation. We all know that by telling them, please regulate yourself, please think more about it, please think about everything you already have, may work for some people, but it doesn't apply to the majority of the population of the students. So do you have any I guess wisdom from your past experience and empirical work to elaborate a little bit more about how we can enable our students in seeking for this hybrid intelligence? Thank you.
If I could answer your question, I probably would get a Nobel Prize, but but that's a question we have to actually ask every day. To be honest, there is a wide scale. So working without technology, working with students and children, I think that there are two issues important. We have to train them to succeed and explain why they succeed, because this is also explaining the motivational conditions and the kind of cognitive processes they've been using, that enhancing their metacognitive monitoring. And we have to help them to fail, so that they understand that what it needs to revise, why they need to change their thinking, and actually train regulation. And basically, I think these two issues we can do in very many ways, with pen and paper, with teacher, with other students, with technologies, with AI, and all. Sorry, this is all I can say, but really important question.
Thank you, Lucas. Yes.
Thank you, Professor. I would like to follow up the question about the performative side of hybrid intelligence, because since you have multiple data-driven observation, may I ask if there is something about performative science, like how people are guided to dance or to cope for banquets, or because when we try to encourage social regulated learning or something for their community well-being, maybe someone would be interested in having AI to give them some guidance and motivate their self-regulated learning for drawing, painting, sculpture, or even for cooking. And I would like to learn from your country as well and the university example. Thank you.
This was very good example where this kind of human AI collaboration research can and need to be extended. We cannot own it in teaching and learning and education. It's everywhere. And I think this hybrid intelligence, there is no right, correct way of researching it. And I think we all are, in a way, especially here, who you are interested in this kind of topic we discuss in this conference, to participate on that. But I don't see that there is one right or priority way of working, but leveraging that research to various conditions where actually people learn also, but perhaps in a different way than in educational context, traditional way.
Thank you. Just now you share some of the examples of the research projects that you are doing, and I think one of them is to collect different sources of data, like using eye tracker, collecting their heartbeat, and so that to show their changes in emotions and different measures, and then that would provide real-time process to the teachers so that they may adjust their teaching, and maybe for students to adjust their learning. So yeah, I think this is exciting and is informative. But then the requirement on the equipment is also quite high, right? So I'm just wondering how this can be spread to like the schools at the school level, so that most schools and also teachers can also use this kind of data. Thank you.
I don't want to take these equipments to the school. I think this is what we do for research, and that's information we have to work together with companies so that they are perhaps able to help teachers to simplify things based on that information we can get from our research. But we also need teachers and practitioners to participate on that discussion. I don't think that we are able to change education or revolutionize anything in education, taking all these things to the classrooms. I think we have excellent educated teachers who know what to do there, but they need the latest information what we do in science of education. And we have to be actually better on informing about what we know and what we learn.
Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. I learned a lot from your studies. So my question is, to add on the questions before, and I think AI can be used to help the teachers to learn the learning process of the students. And many data used in studies can be useful for the teachers to help them with the formative assessments. Because in the real-time teaching, formative assessments are compromised by the limited of time or like heavy workload. So my question is, what do you think are teachers' roles in this? In students' collaboration with AI and under their regulation? Thank you.
A very good example is what we do in our cell research and with this using this Flora engine in this writing task, because this information is something that we can visualize and show it directly to the teacher, to the students, but we can also show it to the teachers so that they immediately learn more about the students' learning processes and then can decide how they could emphasize certain aspects in their training and teaching and so on. So there are absolutely ways how we can translate, and also already some sophisticated systems which we simply take to the school, and collaboration with teachers is absolutely important. We also want to know from teachers that what is something you would need to know better. So it is also from both ways.
Thank you, Professor. I learned a lot from your presentation. I'm from Capital Medical University. I do some research about health education. It is to teach patients have some healthy behavior. So I want to ask if this hybrid intelligence can use in health education. Yeah.
This is what we are doing in our hybrid intelligence program. My colleague Kristiina Mikkonen, who is a professor in health sciences, is especially trying to find ways how to use XR environment for training nurses to train certain skills which are otherwise impossible. I think there are several very important opportunities.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Professor. I have a quick question about your generative multimodal analysis toolkit. Can you share something about that toolkit? Is it open, right?
Actually, the matrix or rubrics I showed you are more like theoretical framework, which we have been exploring with our empirical papers, that what is something you can use, you can understand, how you can understand metacognition using these multimodal data channels. So that has been more than 10 years work in our different teams collaboration to really verify something, because if you measure something, for example, your heart rate or EDA using sensors, they don't tell anything about learning. But how you use these data channels, for example, with the video data, including self-reports and students' beliefs, really look at some patterns in the bigger data and perhaps then dive into the real situations in the video data to see that what happens in context. All this is something what we try to understand and we have to understand. It is complex, but luckily their field is growing, and once we are able to validate our findings and get more accumulating empirical evidence, I think we are progressing in the good direction.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for your questions and comments.